Remember the world before 2019? Life was vibrant and full of possibilities. Studying abroad was a dream come true for students and lifelong learners. It meant immersing oneself in new cultures, expanding horizons, and gaining invaluable experiences. Then came the global pandemic, and everything changed. Borders closed, flights were grounded, and classrooms emptied. Learning went virtual, allowing us to adapt and continue our education, but something was missing. The yearning for real-life experiences, connections, and personal growth only grew stronger. But now, as the world has emerged from the pandemic, a new era is upon us. An era that has the power to reshape learning abroad. However, what has changed? Let's imagine a scenario involving Dr. Frank, a fictitious academic staff member at Western Sydney University. Dr. Frank is a professor, and prior to 2020 he had been leading students on educational trips to Vietnam for the past 2 decades. But just before the end of 2019, something extraordinary happened. Dr. Frank embarked on a secret journey to Mars, leaving the planet behind for years. Cut off from communication, he finally returned in 2023, filled with new experiences and a desire to resume taking students to Vietnam. So, what does Dr. Frank observe after his absence? During his time away, several significant changes have unfolded. First off, there was a noticeable increase in risk aversion. This means that people or institutions had become more cautious about getting involved in activities that could pose some risks. These concerns encompassed various aspects such as safety, health, finances, academic challenges, and adapting to different cultures. So basically, due to these worries, people had become more careful and hesitant about taking part in learning abroad activities. Due to this risk aversion and other factors, governments and institutions had implemented several policies, adapting their strategies to address these challenges. For instance, before taking students abroad, Dr. Frank was required to follow Western Sydney University's guidelines for developing overseas programs. This was something he didn't have to do before. Further, to ensure safe planning, the timelines for developing a program had been lengthened. This allowed project leaders to thoroughly assess health and safety measures, coordinate logistics, and adapt to changing circumstances. Shocked by all these changes, Dr. Frank endeavored to reach out to his former contacts and seek their assistance. Unfortunately, during his absence there had been numerous restructures, retirements, redundancies, increased workloads, and shifting priorities across the university. There was nobody in the school that was able to help. Now let's consider Dr. Frank's host location. The dean, or the students, did not have much enthusiasm for a program in Vietnam. The pandemic had resulted in shifts in the demand for different learning abroad locations. This may have been due to huge increases in the cost of living and traveling abroad. In particular, Dr. Frank had experienced a large increase in the costs for his study tour. Regrettably, there was also a rise in withdrawals and ghosting behaviors, where students abruptly disengaged from communication without providing any explanation. This was devastating for Dr. Frank's program. After dedicating an entire year to developing a new program and successfully recruiting 12 students, he only had 7 that were truly committed to going abroad. As a result, the program was cancelled. While the scenario of Dr. Frank going to Mars may seem far-fetched, it bears some resemblance to the current situation, where staff and students have experienced prolonged periods of lockdown and change. This situation can be quite frustrating for students and staff who are interested in participating or developing learning abroad opportunities. With these changes in mind, how can we find ways to shape learning abroad in a post-pandemic world? Through collective determination, we can shape a new chapter, inspiring students and staff alike. Let's discuss this further.